that is the worst the Predacons can do, we have little to fear from.
You don't suffer from overconfidence or anything.
Welcome back to the Tiger Game Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the CT-Chiyou-06 Cang-Toys Hugerhino. This thing is a pretty cool looking figure. It's one component. It is a leg of their ginormous Predaking, and we're going to take a look at this. I did get this to Show Z, and I'll have a link down below where you might be able to get yours. It says sold out right now. I'm not sure if they're getting more in stock, but we're going to take a look at this guy. We're going to check him out. Coming up. Quick look at the packaging. It does come in its own brown box, which is pretty cool because it protects this really nice box. And so let's see this really nice box here. And it's got some shine to it. It's pretty cool the way they make it. Feels very high quality overall. There's the Rhino, the huge Rhino on the back. But once you look inside, it's really high quality too. Once you open it up from the top, you've got whatever this instructions and stuff. The card and all that, and then this is how it's presented in here. So just really nice, well packed, feels premium. All right, so let's take a look at this guy right out of the box, and I want to point out a few things. First of all, he does have a bit of a G1-esque look to him, so I do kind of like that. We're going to see that in comparisons. Also, he does have quite a few paint apps on him, whether it be the shoulders. We have a tampograph symbol right here, and then paint on his head, and then his eyes are actually a bit of light piping, but I don't have the light set up to where it'll quite show the light piping, but it's right here with the light piping, which is pretty cool too. And then all the way going down, we have some more transparent right in here on the inside, paint on these pieces here on the center, some red going on right there. So I think pretty much everything red is painted also, because it seems to match. That's painted, that matches, so that's pretty good too. So quite a bit of paint on this guy all the way up and down, and you know, different accents on there, which is phenomenal. It's like a sign of high quality when you have all those great tampograph paint apps on there just all over. Some of the stuff's going to carry over into the alt mode, of course, but that's what you'd expect. And so pretty clean overall too. I mean, considering what all it does and kind of how some of these were a little less clean in the past, this one is a pretty clean bot. A little bit of kibble right here from the foot carrying over, but you really almost can't even tell it's a foot. So that little bit of kibble is not too bad. A bit of kibble going on right here. But overall, a pretty clean bot, great paint apps. Let's take a look at articulation on him. So his head's going to go up and down, and I think there's a little bit of wiggle room. Not really, but he's got a bit of rotation there. Shoulder going out to past the 90, and then of course you can do the 360. Very tight ratchets that I like. You can hear that going on right there. And then the bicep swivel, and it is a double jointed elbow, so if you wanted to kind of get his shoulder pad out of the way, you could get an extreme, very extreme, or you could turn it like this. You don't need that. Everything's super tight, which it's got to be with the combiner. Very extreme on that elbow. Then the hands, they are articulated, fully articulated. So every finger, and of course you've got 2 points of articulation on each one. Is that what it is? What it looks like. 2 points of articulation on each one. Opposable thumb, all that good stuff going on right there. Waist, side to side, and you get a pretty decent ab crunch out of it too. So that really does work. And then legs can go out to here, and you do have this hip skirt that's on a ball joint, and there's a whole lot you can just do to get it out of the way. You can still kind of keep it in there if you're doing a pose such as this, and let's see if those joints will hold him up for a kick. He does have a bit of weight to him, but he can do a really high kick like this, and yeah, the hardware holds it. Goes front this far and to the back that far, pretty much more than I would ever need. And then the knee is a double joint, but not quite much past the 90. It looks like a double joint because two little things happen here with this knee, but and of course we do have the thigh swivel that's going on there. That works. And then the foot, quite a bit of range to the side, on both of them so you could get a nice wide stance, and that works. And do the transformation up and down, all that kind of stuff, just to a strange, crazy degree that you can do all kinds of stuff. Now getting into accessories, he does have one of these double-bladed ones right here, which actually they have articulated handles so you can plug it in and then get it into his hand just fine. We have two more swords that are interesting looking swords. Both do carry the movable adjustable handle piece. Now these swords are actually a little bit different from each other. In fact, the blade is facing the opposite direction on each one of these, but still pretty cool, interesting what's going on. Let's see what they look like in his hand. Getting it into his hand, I'm going to kind of demonstrate that. And there's a tab on his hand right here, and then there's a slot in the handle. So sliding all this through here, getting that in place, tightening it up, and it's a pretty solid grip. So that works pretty well. And then we can do the same thing with the other ones. Similar to how I have it set up in the intro, and I'll have similar setup like this on the outro probably, because I think it's kind of cool. Those blades are cool. But he also does come with this giant gun right here, and so the gun itself, I think it combines with another larger gun when you get the rest of the figures, because I don't have them all yet. So anyhow, this gun here has the same tabbing system that you would tab it into this hand here for it to hold into place, and the fingers really don't do much for support, just a little bit, but it's still kind of nice. And that is quite a cannon he's got there, and so looks pretty good. All these weapons accessories work really well, and it looks good. Getting into some quick comparisons, I do want to say that this is the G1 here on the left, and I think I need to make them longer, taller, whatever. But I wouldn't want one to look exactly like that. I would want it to look like a stylized version of that. Come to think of it, I would want it to look a little different based on cartoon or whatever. So this does kind of fall into that. It's a little bit stylized, but it does look a lot like the original G1. And I have the wrong sword on there because that was the one that was easiest to grab. But you can kind of see how they still have this piece right here, which feels very reminiscent. The shoulder piece is silver, but it's similar in a way. And then just you'd expect it to clean up way more than the G1, which it does. So yeah, it gets the job done there. Okay, so looking at it right here, next to some Seekers. I did promise Seeker comparisons, so we are going to do some Conehead Seeker comparisons. This is a deformation space, which I absolutely love the design. Very, very G1. This is the Toy World, which is notoriously taller than everything else, but not way taller than what we see with the deformation space. And this guy fits in really well, relatively well. I mean, I don't know if in your mind these should tower over Seekers or be the same size as Seekers, but it really works for me. Not sure I can get all these in shot, but Takara, and then Make Toys, Toy World, and there we go with the Cang-Toys. Now let's look for more classic comparisons. Here he is next to Monkey Pants and a foot, so that's how it looks. And yeah, that's scaling up pretty nicely, turning out to be a pretty good team. And the obligatory Optimus Prime and Megatron comparisons, MP36, MP44, gotta have those in there, and he scales really well, just slightly shorter than the two of them. Now for the transformation on this guy. So there's quite a bit of stuff going on with him, and it's quite interesting how it goes. But we want to pull this leg out, we want to flip this foot around and push it forward. We want to close that piece there, and then we are going to fold this around. All right, so fold this down so you can flip all this around, and then this will flip around like so, and then you can end up tabbing this in to here, and then this needs to flip around also. Okay, so moving it up here to untab these side pieces here, and this inside piece has a nice tab that holds the whole leg in place. Move the hip skirt out of the way so you can slide it all down into place and get that working. Alright, so this flap here folds around for the belly, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, on the other side here, we're going to do all this stuff again over and over. flip the foot around all of the way, flip this around so that you have the foot in place, and then we are going to pull this down enough to flip this piece around and then this piece around. Let's get it to where is it going to go that'll flip around? There we go. Get it adjusted just right, flip around, and then go here and form the rear end of this. And then we need to untab the supports in here so that we can move the hip flap out of the way and get this piece here out too. Collapse it all the way, close this up. We're going to connect these with a double connecting tab right here, kind of tighten some stuff up on the rear end. And we have the bottom half done. Let's lift these hip skirts out of the way and then lift this here out of the way, and we need to rotate the whole body. Now these pieces here are going to come down, and there's a tab here and a slot there, so they are going to connect into here. I guess I'm sort of going a little bit backwards, but I like to start at the bottom and work my way up. You can see he's already starting to form, so it's starting to work out. Now we're going to need to pull all this stuff here out of the way, and it's going to just start forming on the way down. But before we get all that, we need to sort out the arms. So let's get the arms sorted. Now, these side pieces will fold down and just kind of fold into there. And then you're going to see that the arm can come out and rotate down. And then with that, you're going to need to open this up, go at it from a different angle right here, open it up like this, and then put the hand sideways so it will fold into there. Nice and easy. And at the same time, it rotates the foot around, which the foot is going to be right there. And then fold out this flap so that we have this going on. And do the same thing on the other side. Then we'll just kind of fill in all these gaps, fit the head in there, and it's pretty much a done deal. But same thing, we fold this, untab this filler slash holder piece that holds it in place, and then we're going to untab it from one tab, tab it down into the second tab, like that. Get this ready to go down here, and then we are going to open up this again, and I'll go at it from the angle I went before to make sure that thumb is full tucked away. I already had it tucked away on the other one, nice and easy. What's going on with this one? All right, there we go. I really feel like the thumb's giving me trouble on this one. Then as that's folding up, this is folding down, and then turn this around, and you have it ready to go, more or less. Now, getting into the head. All right, let's redo that. I actually was out of frame for all of that, and I just noticed, so here we go. And we're going to pull all this back, creates a cavity to close this head. Then we can pull this back up into place. We're going to leave the head up because we're going to form the neck and a whole bunch of stuff from the back here. And so right here, we're going to open this up, and we're going to pull out my understanding, these are supposed to tuck in. These pieces fold in, but they were already unfolded on mine, so there we go. So this is going to form the neck, and so we can fold this down into the neck, and then we have to fold these pieces down, so it'll start having some side fillers going on, and we're going to do all of that. And then the head can come down into place, and then we're going to align it to where the side piece fillers fall into place, and then we're going to put this whole tail to the back like so, and it's starting to form there. So I did have this come out of place, so I'm going to kind of go around and tighten this up just a second. Okay, so there's tabs in the back here, that there's slots right here, so that's going to tab into place, and that's going to kind of hold everything in place where it should go. And then we're going to get in here and sort out a few things that I didn't quite do as we were going, fold that to the front because that is how that's supposed to go. And I have disconnected this a couple of times, so I don't really like that I did that, but there we go. Connecting that back in, and then just kind of going around and making sure everything is in place like it should be. And there are some stuff that doesn't tab in that you might feel like it should tab in, but it just it still holds in place once you get it there, so it's not really that bad. And more or less we're there, and we're going to take a look at the alt mode. All right, so here he is in his alt mode, and so really want to show something. This piece here, I think this is an alternative, in my mind, an alternative. You can either keep it like this, or you can put it up here like so, and that would work also. Also in the back here, there is this piece here that folds out, and then you can fold these guns out, and then you can have the guns out if you want. So several different display options, however you would like to do it. But I actually think this is kind of cool. But I also like thinking that you can put that red piece over there, give them a little bit bulkier hind area like this. That was something that I would think that a Rhino would have and how it would look, in my opinion. But we're going to kind of go with what they like to show with the guns out. And it is interesting, though, how they designed this. So one way to get that back part started is just pull on these thruster / guns. And then I do like that they designed it to where the part that holds the gun is a filler to that, so it just looks like it's all uniform and stuff too. So pretty cool. Now he is a big, beefy Rhino bot. So this is where huge Rhino comes in, because he is pretty huge. Really little to no die cast in this, except for maybe the connector pieces. So with that, he is big. He's got a tail with some articulation to it in there, so that's kind of cool. Legs don't have much articulation, just kind of what you saw in the transformation, a little bit in the foot and a ball joint. And then the guns can pivot up and down. And then over here, we do kind of have pretty much everything you'd have from the arm, because it is the arm. So, and then that's, you can have he sort of has another knee joint right there, but it doesn't do too much with it. But you could like stomp on something or whatever. But some articulation going on in there, and really not a huge level of articulation. The head, though, is crazy. It goes side to side because of the transformation and all of that. And he has an opening jaw. So let's get a look at that. Opening jaw. And so you can see teeth in there. And it looks like, what is it, painted kind of like a charcoal, silvery charcoal to it. You do have light piping on the horn, or some clear pieces on the horn, so I'm not sure why they did that. It's just different. There's just a whole lot going on with this guy. All over, just a ton of stuff going on with him. And he looks like a stylized G1. And so when we get into comparisons, you can kind of see all that. But pretty good looking. A lot of the paint apps do carry over with this guy. And he's got a nice sheen to it. You can see the reflectiveness in the camera. And so those tabs like to come out on me for some reason. But yeah, pretty good looking overall Rhino mode. Let's start getting into some comparisons. Here he is next to the KO Oversize Rhinox, and this was the Studio Series KO Oversize. And you can see how much bigger he is than that, which I thought this was a real beefy bot for a Rhino. And this dude just towers over him, makes him look like nothing, like it's nothing. So that is huge. Here's next to one of the feet, and I'm not concerned about it being perfectly transformed because it's going to be a foot, but yeah, that's how it looks next to his foot companion. This is what came with monkey pants. If you're anything like me, you're going to think this is an extremely stylized take on Predaking and Predacons. But this one here, this one takes a lot from the G1. So like you can kind of see this silver piece going down there, sort of matching that in a way. Of course, the Rhino head, the way the legs go underneath instead of like maybe out to the side. Just a whole lot of stuff that really does sort of pay homage. Instead of yellow, it's got gold. Instead of the reddish orange, it's got burgundy. And so with that, it's just a massive upgrade to a G1, and huge. Now to get this guy into his leg mode. So we're going to pull this up. We're going to pull all of this stuff out. Let's go ahead and redo this, reposition this into the original setup. Put them in here, these little guns, get them both put away so we can get this out of the way there. We're going to pull this up out of the way. We're going to disconnect these guys here. Open all of this stuff here up. Separate. Okay, so we're basically turning all this stuff around, but disconnect this, flip it around here, fold this up on itself. Same thing on the other side. Pull this out. Flip it around. Come on. And then fold it up. So we're wanting this side to look good. That's the whole point of how this thing goes. Now, we're going to flip it around and do a few things over here too. We've got to do stuff with the shoulders and stuff with the head and all that. So let's do this shoulder here. So this is going to come out, and we're going to flip this around and then around and up under here like so. When we're not done, we got to move this shoulder piece up, so that's right there, and then make sure that this joint is all the way forward, and then fold this up, and so it gives it a cleaner look. And then this piece goes up into here, a little bit cleaner look to it. So doing the same thing on the other side. Just go ahead and go up with it, and then flip this whole armature. This is tight. This one's real tight. Around, and then back up under, and then this right here. And that should be pretty good. Now we're going to get up into the top here. Fold this stuff here, all this out. Now we're going to fold these pieces here in and fold that down, and then we're going to fold this. These pieces are going to go down into it like so. We're going to fold this up and around, kind of sort of making the way it looks, the signature look. This piece comes out. Now this is strange because you're going to have to pull it out and up around this, about the same time. There it goes. And then this comes up as a connector, and this will fold down into place. And see if I can streamline this just a little bit more. Not sure why that came out like so. Got one side looking good, the other side's not quite streamlining the way I'd like it to. Okay, there we go. That streamlines a little bit better. Now to attach the foot, and here's the foot. It slides into back here. So we got some grooves, and it should be able to tab back in. All right, so make sure we have all of these pushed up as far as we can to get the clearance. I wasn't getting clearance, but there was like one more notch on that ratchet that those could go up. And so with that, now it's funny because in front of the camera I can't seem to do it, but ooh, that's tight. But now that we've got it all behind the camera for a second, I was able to tighten it up a little bit more. And so it's huge. So let me back this out just a bit. So we're going to clean up a few more things on this. Obviously the head's going to go right there. We're going to move these shoulders out to the front like so, but still make it look like it's seamless. And there we go. I'm not sure how I got one side a little bit tighter than the other, because you want it to be as narrow as you can. And then all this is going to come back down and tab back in. We do need to fold the tail down, and this is going to go back down here and tab into these tabs again, give it a little bit more stability. But for the most part, there's the leg. All right, so here is the leg mode, more or less. It is huge in leg mode, and that's not even considering the thigh and all that. That's just the lower leg. That is big and massive. and beefy, and a couple parts I might have just a little bit out of alignment. I don't think it really makes a big difference as long as the connection points connect and it's sturdy. It does have a ratchet on the foot. Now I'm guessing you that you want, but nice sturdy ratchet. I'm surprised that there's not metal connecting the connection, but it does feel solid, and there's multiple. It's not like it's one connection, it's a slotted multiple connection, so that kind of works too. So this thing is going to be beefy and solid. And just for size comparison real quick, here's just the lower leg of this thing next to Optimus Prime MP44, and that's not even considering the thigh of it and all of that. So this thing is going to be massive, massively huge. Wow. And then real quick, we're going to get this compared to the G1, and as you can see, it does carry over quite a bit from G1, and it's just, like we say, a stylized, more modern take on what the G1 had to offer. Really cool, very impressive, just very impressive. The size, the sheen on it, and just the way they have a whole different character as a foot. Crazy. So this is my look at the Hugerhino. I think it's a pretty solid figure. It looks really good, and overall, this is one of the closest ones that sort of closely matches the original G1, closer than some of the other designs. And so with that, I kind of really do like it, but it has its own stylized take on it, which is still pretty cool. I do like the paint apps. I do like how solid everything is. So overall, a pretty great figure, and I'll have a link down below. It's Show Z, where you can get yours too. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this. So dear, hang around.
He will suffer more at the hands of Predaking.